Happy 26-degree Capricorn, Sun in Capricorn day. Today is a special day, not just because it's 26-degree Capricorn, but today's my dad's birthday. And it's interesting because, well, for many of you know, he's passed on. He passed on about 3.5 years ago. And he was the Capricorn like image for sure. Um, but I never knew he was a Grandmaster 26-degree Capricorn later on. And then that comes from Christopher Witecki's like Serious Joy step system. If any of you guys are heard of it or are interested in learning more, you can learn from it from Serious Joy. And it makes so much sense as I look back through my life, his life, because he was always very focused on work and being in integrity with his career path. And um, that is a very honorable thing in many ways because we're all gifted in different areas of life and some things come more naturally to us than others, and just seeing how that played out in his life is always like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And that's like inspiration. And when I took over his business after he passed, like his clients were always like, they loved him so much. And he had Venus on his ascendant. So he was very charming, of course, that comes across. Um, but it was interesting just looking at his chart as a Capricorn, but with um, he had Mars, Saturn, and the Moon all conjunct, like at 9 degrees in Sagittarius. So it's like, wow. I think that was I want to say that was in the 10th house, 10th to 11th house. And then his Capricorn was in the 11th. And then Aquarius hit in the first house. And then that's where he had his Venus was in Aquarius, and he was always very charming and really good with social circles, for the most part. But looking back at his life and seeing that those intensities, um, is just like, wow. I can't even imagine having this, Mars, the Moon, and Saturn conjunct in Sagittarius, the most free sign ever. Seriously. And it's funny because his Mars and my Mars are almost conjunct too. Like they're I think in a 4-degree orb or 5-degree orb. So that's really interesting. Yeah, so I was just reflecting and thinking back, and I guess this video is more just about like my dad and remembering his presence and like remembering like the positive qualities that he brought and that like I reflect more on now. Um, when we're in the midst of life and, we're moving through at different phases of our lives, we don't always notice things or see things. And we look back and we see them better, we see them clearer, we see them from a different perspective, depending on which way we're, faced in life. So, and what we've experienced in life. Um, this is not a sad video. It's just a sharing video because I feel like it today. I did pull some cards though, because I was like, let's just pull some cards and kind of see what the energy is, because it's pretty intense. We have the sun and Pluto, going to be coming to a conjunction later this week. The sun's just a couple degrees away, and 3 degrees away. Maybe by the time you watch this video, it'll be 2, so we're going to be feeling it. So remember to take a breath. Write down things that are coming up. Call in like violet flame transmutation. Call in Gaia's light for transmuting. Some of the stuff that's coming up isn't just from this life, it's from past lives too. So what we're feeling isn't always our own. Like we're feeling maybe ancestral stuff come up for clearing. We're race memory, human race memory, the whole human race memory coming up for clearing and transmuting. Uh, it's it's not just individual, it's collective. So let's remember that, and that we're all connected in one way or another, and calling whatever essence of light and purification through grace and ease to the utmost that you would call in, to this. Like I usually say, calling in the violet flame of Saint Germain through the I am presence, the great ascendant angelic host. Please come into this situation, transform please come in with your violet flame into the situation, people, places, and conditions, and transform to the highest and greatest good, bringing about a miracle of your perfection to all concerned. This is a Saint Germain, like I am presence decree that you can find in any of the books, the I am presence books, the Saint Germain books, the Violet Flame books. You can find these decrees. They are out there. So look them up or get a Violet Flame book. Maybe I don't have one. I have one, but I don't want to go out the camera. They're right here. Maybe I'll post a picture. And they're great. Here is my Saint Germain right here. Keep a copy. Keep them by me. And I always I started studying the Ascended Masters in my early 20s. I started learning about them from the Saint Germain Press, Saint Germain Foundation, and the Green Books, the Emerald Green Books, as some of you might know. And they changed my life. They changed my perspective. They changed, and my perspective is still constantly changing and completely changing and growing all the time. But that was an amazing essence to bring into myself, my knowledge, my understanding, my practice, my being, my world, and it may be the same for you. And always, we're always students of the great cycle of life, right? We're all students, we're all teachers, we're all interweaving and assisting each other along the pathway. And the student learns so much from, the teacher, but the teacher learns so much from the student. It's amazing, right? We reflect back and forth to each other like the infinity. Okay, so the cards that I got, and I'm pulling from the Thoth deck. I have this little baby Thoth deck. Partly because I just reunited one of my cards with it. It's been separated for like a year or two, and I was like, okay, they're reunited. And it was the Princess of Discs. So that's interesting. The Princess of Earth, we're in a Capricorn sign. A lot of times the pages, the princesses are bringing messages. So here we are bringing a message, and the Princess of Discs has rejoined this deck. And here we go. So the first card that I got is the Two of Cups. This is love of all types, usually a physical type of love. So this could be love with like a physical love to oneself. Usually it's with another person. It could be a deep friendship, deep emotional, satisfying, loving friendship. It could be a relationship with another that is just so nurturing and loving, and you connect really well at a deep level, and you can feel that heart and soul connection even when you're apart. Although it's very fun to be together, you can definitely still feel it. This one's always a beautiful card to get, although as I must remind you, all states are not, all states are moving, constantly. So even though we may be in one state right now, the next state could come and it could shift because life is ever changing cycle. So the next state is Four of Cups. So Four of Cups is kind of like we're wishing for something that we don't have. So we see all this and we're like, oh yeah, this is great. We see these cups and like something's being offered to us, but we don't see it because we're like, oh, I don't have what I want sometimes. And really, when that happens, a lot of times we're in it and we don't realize it. And we're just kind of like disappointed. And it's like, okay, let's come out of our emotions. I was doing a reading today, and one of the things that came up was instead of being in the ocean of emotion and thoughts, it's like get up in the boat, the little rowboat, and sit in it. And okay, I'm looking at these thoughts, I'm looking at these emotions, I'm observing them, but I am not these emotions. And so it's a constant like, okay, come back to who I really am. I'm not these thoughts, I'm not these emotions, these are passing through me. I can choose to give them energy or not. I can choose to feed them or not. What do I choose to give my life, my precious life energy to? because we don't know how long we're here, right? So it's so important where we direct our energy. And if there's something that you really want to do, but you can't do it in this moment, do what you can do and prepare the way for when you can be in that next moment of what you really want to do. And who knows, that may also change along the way. And so the last card is the Empress, which is trippy because I feel like all these cards kind of go together. It is like a little bit of a water cycle here of love, and then like being like having to go through like a purification and discouragement and like letting go. And then but ultimately, like the Empress card is the ultimate embodiment of the creation of life, the great waters of life. In the esoteric titles the Hermetic pathway, she is called the daughter of the mighty ones, daughter of the mighty ones. And there's also another title that I'm forgetting. I feel like it's something burning bright, something daughter burning bright, or I'll have to look that up. But I really like this one. And the Empress always comes up too when we also need time to just sit within ourselves, sit and allow ourselves to create and be created with the great spirit of life. Remember, we're not in this alone. We're in it together with our greater spirit of life. And a lot of times, sometimes we may feel alone, but we're not. And we got to remind ourselves of that. I wish it's kind of clearer. So when you feel you need some extra nurturing, call that Empress energy in, that Venusian Empress, and feel that I'm seeing us in the womb of life, the womb of creation, just kind of like protected in the Egyptian mysteries. There's the child, Harpocrates, and he is sitting in the sign of silence, kind of like this, and he's in the womb of life. And sometimes we may need to go into that womb. We may need to go back in and just be in our silence and be in our sacred development of our soul, of our essence. And that's really important. So we are still in the winter season and still in that internal depth, internal transformation, even though we are starting to see some tides and things shift and turn. We are still going through that. So give yourself time, give yourself energy within, and still like have that love, that essence with ourselves, with our higher presence, the most important, with others. And I've also seen us send that out, even if we don't always know where it's going, but to the situations that need it most. We're not taking from our own energy, but rather we're calling our higher presence, the great consciousness, the great God, goddess, I am presence of life, into all the situations that need it all throughout the planet right now. For love, for compassion, for balance, for equilibrium, for stability, for nourishment, in the ways that are appropriate for everyone's highest and greatest good, in a win-win situation for all, to the best of the ability of human creation. Or however your heart desires to say it, or your higher presence calls you to say it. And so I hope this message finds you well. Remember, you will always find what is right for you. Take what is relevant and disregard what isn't. I'm wishing you a beautiful, amazing day. And if you did stay for a little thing, thank you. And I am sending you blessings all throughout this week. Oh, and I'm doing readings over Zoom. So if you'd like to book a reading, feel free to let me know. And happy birthday to my dad. And happy Grandmaster Capricorn Day. And it's a great day to make decisions too about where you want to go in your business, in your career, in your direction in life, outer direction. And even if you can't take that step today, maybe write it out or do something tiny, just a little thing to do it as a symbolic gesture to do that. All right. Thank you so much, love.